Good morning, everyone. My name is Prince. I'm from team pseudocoders, and this is our problem statement. We are developing an API to integrate Namaste and ICD-11 codes via the TM2 module into the existing EMR system to comply with the EHR standards of India. What this basically means that we are making the AYUSH integrated EMR systems to be used globally, as well as the global standards which are present in the ICD-11 can be used in localized AYUSH EMR systems in India, vice versa, for which we are mapped the AYUSH related biomedical morbidity codes to the WHO ICD-11 morbidity codes, which are basically the biomedical codes of different diagnosis. For a better understanding, here is the video. So we constructed our whole project in Java plus Spring Boot. This is the UI of the Java plus Spring Boot where we made the API. Why we use Java plus Spring Boot is the fact that most of the EMR systems in India use Java plus Spring Boot. So the API we are developing will be an easy to integrate. The main components of the file structures include code controller, ICD code controller, code entity, mapping entity, which will be used later in the demonstration. So as we know, we are integrating the AYUSH morbidity codes which are present in the Namaste portal with the ICD-11 WHO standard codes, for which we have stored the AYUSH morbidity codes in a database or in a form of a table in PostgreSQL. This is the table, and what we do that uh, our API will fetch the name of the code. It will fetch the code from this table and find its equivalent matching in the ICD-11 database, because we have got only the API. We don't have the direct access to their database, but we got the API. It will fetch the code from here based on the definition of what diagnosis are we talking about, and it will map its equivalent to the ICD-11 module and find the best solution which matches the diagnosis we are giving. After the codes, when they are matched with their respective diagnosis in other codes, it will be stored in a mappings. If I can show you, this is the mapping folder where the codes are mapped to their respective ICD-11 codes. As you can see here, these are mapped to their ICD-11 codes and stored in this database. And lastly, when the doctor puts any of the AYUSH codes or ICD-11 codes into the EMR, the other two codes, which is the ICD-11 and ICD-11 TM2 codes, if exist, will also be inserted directly, so that if a person who is getting treated in India in a AYUSH based EMR, where the doctor is using an AYUSH based EMR system, if he goes to any other hospital to get treated, in his electronic health record, the other doctor can see what is the kind of treatment that has been that he has been gone through in the past. And this can be in three formats. Either it's the name, if for example, if he's getting treated for diabetes, we call permeha as a diagnosis for diabetes in our ayush format, or in our ayurvedic thing. And if we'll get a diagnostic in allopathic form, he will be called as diabetes 2 mellitus. So if he went to an allopathic doctor, he will be knowing that he was previously getting treated for diabetes 2 mellitus. Whereas if he goes to another Ayush doctor, he will obviously get to know that he was treated for mm, permeha. Sorry. So now to check whether our API is working well or not, what we will do is, for example, we have passed a parameter hiccup. A person is suffering from a lot of hiccups. So we have passed the parameter hiccup here. When we pass the parameter as hiccup, it goes and we send, it goes into the database and finds an entity ID. You can see it here. The entity ID mentioned will be used to map into the ICD-11 codes. So we take the entity ID from here, we put it in the API given, and here we put the entity ID. When we put the entity ID and we go hit send, it will get the definition and the character ID or the ID which is been mapped in the ICD-11, as well as a definition of what he is suffering from according to the ICD-11 standards. Rest, if I talk about more, so this is the entity ID. This is the ID which is present in the AYUSH format, and this is what he is suffering from, and this is the definition. Now, if I show you whether real mapping is taking place, let me take another example. Here, for example, we go here in our system Namaste. We put, we go into the database and we go into the codes. Go into the codes and we see the data. For example, the doctor has put that he's suffering, the diagnosis of him is dosha imbalance. Okay, so if it's dosha imbalance, then the code is A. So A will be fetched from the database, and there, here, when you put, sorry, when you put A as the value, because the API will be then fetching the equivalent code from the ICD-11 TM2 module, and the code used will be A from the system Namaste. When we send it, then we'll get the target code as well as the IC11 TM2 code, and a little description of what he is suffering from, all in a database, all right, right to you without doing any other efforts. Thank you.